Ladies and gentlemen, Landon Sanford, and your company's name is Rayka.
Rayka.
You ready?
I'm ready.
We'll start the clock when you start.
Do I need a...
Yep. Right here.
Perfect. Thank you. How's everyone doing?
All right.
Cool. Okay, so I'm Landon. I'm the founder and CEO of Rayka, which I developed after traveling to 38 countries and 42 states in my life and constantly being asked the same questions. So how many of you, when you're planning for a trip, have reached out to a friend and asked for travel advice or recommendations on where to go? By show of hands. Awesome. So that is what I'm trying to solve. All my friends, especially this summer, they were all traveling a lot and kept asking me for questions, but there's no single platform where you can just share this information. To kind of break this down a little bit more, the way you'd answer this now would be either review sites or social media. Social media would be Facebook, Instagram. The problem is that there's such a massive feed. If you miss that when it's posted, it is gone in the feed forever. And it's not a good way of organizing your favorite places, travel recommendations, all of that just in one spot. With review sites, that would be Yelp, TripAdvisor, Foursquare, platforms like that. My frustration with those is that they're based on millions of people you don't know and don't trust. They're based, a lot of times they show the more touristy stuff in every city and not the best local spots or other places. But the big thing is actually with how they're ranked, this 5-star review format. So this is actually an example of this. If you look at restaurants in Charleston, can anyone tell me why I cringe when I look at this slide? They are all 4.5 stars all across the board, 4.5 stars, and this isn't hand-picked. Every city has this exact same thing. I could show Dallas right here. They're all 5 stars. If you look at the statistics, 68% of reviews are between 4 and 5 stars. So there's no difference between page 1, page 5, page 10, the restaurants in Charleston, the restaurants in Asheville, the restaurants in Dallas. It's all the exact same. And this is just not a good way of finding the best places for who you are in any city. So that's the issue I'm trying to tap into. There's a gap between review sites and social media. And the solution is Rayka, which is a social travel platform where friends share their favorite places to go all around the world. And travelers can use Rayka to more easily find the best cities, restaurants, bars, hiking spots, based on the opinions of people they know and trust. Which might make sense to a degree, but let's look at some pictures of the platform to get a better sense of this. Your profile on Rayka is a map. So the places you've been to, the countries you've been to are shaded. Your favorite places are starred. So when all my friends were texting me, all that I would have to do is tell them, hey, look at my profile on Rayka, and my favorite restaurant in Paris is this one. My favorite bar in Sydney is this one. And it's just right there. And it's just so simple and easy. In terms of more the homepage and social component of the platform, it is a social feed. So you can see what your friends are reviewing, what they're recommending, what they're adding as favorites. They might inspire some kind of travel curiosity or local curiosity for trying a new spot. It's divided between friends, public, and experts. So experts would be people who've been to 50 plus countries, or they've been to 5,000 restaurants, and you can see just their favorite places, just their recommendations all in one spot, which I talk with a lot of travel bloggers and have about 30 experts on board, but they're the ones with the best recommendations and the best advice and get asked this question more than anyone. So it's all just incredibly easy. But the value of all this is once you have enough people's favorites, you can compile that into lists. So you could search for the most favorited list in Charleston, either among your friends or among the public. But the difference is you can sort by demographics. So you could search for just local, just in your age group, just male, just female. So I could search for the most favorited restaurant in Charleston among local male age 18 to 24, and bam, that is the best restaurant based on who I am. And it's not based on a 5-star review format. It's not based, it's not this, thing where everything's the same. It's a differentiated list, and it's best based on who you are. And I've traveled enough to know that this is going to be the easiest way to find the best places and to help you explore a city. So just as another side note, if you've heard of Untapped, it's a social beer drinking platform. We are an Untapped for travel. So they grew to 6 million users, got acquired this past summer by NextClass. We're but mimicking a lot of their kind of same strategies with gamification, with groups. One of our big focus is with groups, specifically with study abroad groups, but I don't have the time to dive into that more. That is, this is Rayka, and thank y'all so much.
Well done.
So the idea, it's an iterative idea, right? It's
In what way?
in other words, meaning there are platforms out there that can do this, but now we have to go to the next level.
It's more. I mean, it's a little more specific. It's more of like solving a specific pain than trying to improve existing solutions. I had double knee surgery this summer, and I had 40 friends text me asking for travel advice. They didn't, use any of these other platforms. That was a specific problem that I was trying to fix.
Okay.
I don't know if that was what you were asking.
It's good enough. But so let me ask you this: how do you make money?
So that's my mom's favorite question to ask. But
It's a great question.
So really, I mean, my focus to begin is all on user growth and product market fit. And I know that probably makes y'all cringe, but the focus is really on that. But in terms of making money, we will have advertisements within the social feed, so it doesn't diminish the user experience, but every 6 posts is an ad. And we're already talking, we're already partnered with 4 study abroad companies, but just an example, there's a study abroad company that does weekend study abroad trips. They could post something within the study abroad Florence group for their trip to wherever, to Amalfi Coast. So we'll have that. We'll have a premium version for users using an AI chatbot where you text it and plan where to go. We'll also eventually use more geo-targeted advertising. So you're driving by Pose, it sees that you haven't been there, your friends have been there, you like burgers, and a discount pops up. That's kind of just in broad, general.
Because I learned this the hard way myself and had to completely figure this all out. The investor community at large is just the appetite's gone
Right.
for user growth and like, hey, we'll figure out our business model later. It's over. It is, and it ended probably about a year ago. The advertising revenues are dying too because obviously 20,000 new apps a month on the App Store and geo-targeting. They all have geolocation, all that. I'm only saying that not because I see relevance here, right? And what I meant by iterative, I meant like it's the next generation of Yelp, next generation of Foursquare,
Okay.
next generation that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it could be very useful and very valuable to one of these companies, just like Untapped was, right? So
Right.
there's value here, but I think that trying to figure out a way to make money on this now, actual cash transactions. And I'm not saying I have the idea. I'm just saying that will go a long way for you in terms of getting this off the ground.
Right.
You're just going to hear this over and over and over.
No,
That's just my opinion.
definitely a good point.
Everything I
Definitely.
say, by the way, is just my humble opinion. just me, right? And
Right.
just
Just to
what I say.
back up on that, so we have 3 study abroad companies who have mentioned, have wanted to pay either for the data that we'd provide or for the advertising. But instead, we're doing a deal where they help with user growth. This one company has worked with 2 million abroad students. They're going to message their alumni, help with growing it, and in exchange, they get a free year exclusive partnership with free advertising. But we've had those kind of conversations. But yes, all the points you make are good.
So your slides are great. I like your call outs. They look good. It helps me walk through the product. I know you only had 2 minutes. I'm taking up way too much time. Right? Yeah, we each get 3 or 30 minutes. Okay. I'm watching this clock go down and I'm like, I'm under pressure. So I don't want to take it. So your slides look great. I thought it was good. The one thing up in the beginning, and then I'll shut up, is the problem. I feel like you could develop the pain point a little bit more. Because it's obviously a problem, but
Right.
I'm not into social travel, and if you're trying to recruit me into believing that it's a problem, maybe more vignettes, maybe more talking about the actual cost that people waste on going to a city like Charleston, and they don't go to the right place, they go to the wrong, and they waste their money.
Right.
Things like that, they get me going, hey, there's a market here, there's money here. Wherever there's wasted money, there's a market. So that's just my take on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that Gavin said. I think the slides are great. I think your presence is good. I think that one thing that I like to see in pitches is that there's a very short 1 or 2 sentence elevator pitch at the beginning that gets people's attention, and then they want to follow along. I think I lost you. You didn't lose my attention. And then at the end, there's a call to action. Why is this important to me? And I don't know. You talk about financials, how do you make money, and things like that. I mean, typically in a pitch, you would talk about the financials, how you monetize it. What the challenges are. Everybody wants to hear about the team. Everybody wants to hear about at least you've thought about an exit.
Right.
It's like always simple to say someone's going to acquire it, but maybe it becomes, something that nobody wants to sell because if you have angels, they're not necessarily interested in turning their money over as fast as the institutional investors. But I think that those would be, so I would definitely say a call to action. Just for example, so like this company that I've started now, you know, the elevator pitches, you know, every day billions of people around the world use electricity to heat water, and they're wasting energy, time, and water when they do that. And our goal is to eliminate all that waste by having our technology in every product by 2020. So that sort of tries to say, I'm not saying it's the best one out there, but then you go, oh wow, how is that going to change my life?
Right.
So, but on that, I think it's great. I mean, good presence.
Thank you.
Okay, I really, I understand the problem because I traveled a lot, okay, so there's this big issue. So once, and I love your presentation, one suggestion is back in the 1970s, before most of you were born, there was a really famous book called Europe on $5 a day, okay? And what I would suggest is when you have a product that's open to everybody, it's open to almost nobody, okay? So I love the idea that you're going down to study abroad, and I would really go for this 18 to 24 audience.
Right.
So that it's really the travel guide for everybody who's 18 to 24, so you can really see where you want to go. Because they're looking at different places than, for example, I would look at, okay? So I would really look at that, and that might also give you some way to monetize it, because any advertising is specifically targeted for them. So for example, one of my friends, he did a rail guide for London back in the 1970s, okay? And what he did was he got $50,000 from the American Express because they just wanted to have their name on there, et cetera, et cetera. He raised over $250,000 and he gave out this guide to all American travelers traveling to London. So you might be able to get sponsors to actually do this, and because there's ability to sign up for a special credit card or rental car or something like that. So the advertisements are tied into that. So there's this sort of almost like a sponsorship format to go through. That might help you as well.
Definitely.
The other thing is, I really simplify that. I really agree with what both Gavin and Jerry said, is really come up with that first 10 seconds of the pitch that we all go, wow. Okay? So always that really first 10 seconds. I thought your pitch was really, really clean and everything like that, but just simplify it to wow. The one thing I did not understand is if you're getting away from the star system, how do you rate why Pose is better than something like that?
It's based on people's compiled favorites. So I could add Pose as a favorite or just recommend it or just write a review without adding as a favorite, but it's it's binary. It's either it's added as a favorite or not, and people's favorites are compiled so that when you search for it, Pose has 113 favorites, Louis Barbecue's 83 favorites, if that makes sense. It's people's favorites compiled into a list.
And they're able to write reviews under Pose?
Yes. Yeah, so you'd be able to click on Pose and see how many people have favorited it, and then the feed of what people have said about it or recommended, either among your friends or among the public.
Okay, and then my other big concern, like with all apps, would be how you get enough people to go onto that to make it really viable. And I think if you could liaise or tie in with study abroad, that's a great idea.
Right, that's the focus.
I said one other quick thought, based on what you were just talking about the study abroad is, you know, maybe there's a couple apps within this app, or you have the same app that targets different audiences. Because if you think about the 18 to 24, let's say the single or the the upbeat type travelers, you're looking for something more than the 60-year-olds who want to go on cruise ships, and then the 30 to 60-year-olds that have kids that want to travel.
Right.
So maybe there's a way that you could think about sharing the background data, but the app, the customer-facing side, it would be more focused on here's your on your age group and where you might want to travel, and that would help you drive advertising, because Carnival Cruise Lines isn't all that interested in 18 to 24-year-olds.
And you may also have, so for example, I lived in Munich for 3 years, and I had a girl come visit me. And it turned out her best friend, I know we all have Facebook these days, but her best friend, or one of her best friends, was also in Munich at the same time, and they ended up meeting in the Deutsches Museum by accident. Okay? So the ability for, even if you're abroad, all of a sudden somebody may not be in your Facebook feed, but may also be a college at Charleston student. And you're, well, we're both in Munich, that's cool. And so all of a sudden friendships, and this is what I learned in Italy, you got to go down there. And when I was traveling through Europe, a lot of the people there was all these connections. You got to go visit Neuschwanstein, you're going to go visit this. And so it's a lot of this local feedback.
Definitely. Thank you all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen.